our emotional reactions are proportionate to the perceived impact on our own value. So, for example, as I said before, if a little kid points a fake gun at me, the perceived impact on my value is very low. So I don't have much of an emotional reaction. Okay? If a mugger pulls a real gun on me and points it in my face, the perceived impact that I have on my own value, my own survival value, is a great impact. So I'm going to have a great emotional response. It's directly proportionate. Okay? So whenever I say value, I want you to understand that I'm not referring to intrinsic human value. I'm only referring to my perceived impact on my own survival and replication value. Make sense?
So value is our own perceived value.
In other words, when I look at someone and my brain is calculating their value and giving me an emotion, it's really calculating the way they impact my value. Okay?
It's all subjective.
It's very subjective. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, we call this relative value. We don't call it absolute value. Okay, we all have some intrinsic human dignity, intrinsic human value. You know, like when I gave the example of the boss and the beggar, and the boss gave me a dirty look and it made me feel really bad, and the beggar gives me a dirty look and I don't feel anything. Well, I mean, aren't they both equal in the eyes of God? Like, aren't they both human beings with human dignity and so on? So how come I'm perceiving that that one has more value than that one? Okay? Because remember, I'm not actually determining that person's actual value. Instead, my brain is making the best calculation that it can on how that person impacts my value. The boss impacts my survival value. So I have an emotional response. Any social cues that I'm getting from him are going to cause me to have more powerful emotional responses because I perceive that it's more of an impact on my survival. Whereas a beggar, I'm getting some negative cue from him, some dirty look, and I don't get an emotional response because he doesn't have a very large perceived impact on my value. What do I care if a beggar gives me a dirty look? So in one case I feel an emotion, in the other case I don't feel an emotion from the same feedback, from the same social feedback. Because my brain is calculating which one is going to impact my own survival or replication value. That's the same with hot chicks. Hot chick, does that mean because she's hot, she's high value? No, it means she's high value to me. To another chick, another chick may not be all nervous around her. That has no impact on her replication strategy. Another chick might have a different emotional response to her. Another hot chick might view her as a threat. If they're both rivals for the same guy, and women tend to be extremely competitive because women are all competing for a very small number of men, the women want the winner. They want the high-status males. Men want variety. But women want the high-status males. So women are all competing for a much smaller group of men. So women are much more competitive against other women. Women are very catty towards other women. Women tend to denigrate other women more than men will denigrate other men. Women will call other women slut and whore and ugly and fat, much more than men ever would. Because these women are their sexual competitors. So when one woman sees another woman, she might feel a threat emotion. Oh shit, she's a threat. Whereas I'm looking at the same woman and I feel a benefit emotion. Ooh, I want to hook up with her. I feel attracted. This woman feels like calling her a whore. Okay? Now, of course, I'm speaking in extremes in order to make points. Okay? You guys are with me on this so far? Okay? So I want you to understand that whenever I say that someone is high value or low value, I'm really referring to relative value, not intrinsic human dignity. I'm just referring to the way that that person tends to give other people emotional reactions. Okay? So if I say that a chick is high value, meaning that she's attractive, that means that she gives other people more emotional reactions. I'm going to be more nervous around her. Another chick might feel more threatened around her. Okay? If a chick is low value, say that she's classically unattractive. She's overweight and ugly or whatever that we consider unattractive. Okay? That doesn't mean that she has no value as a person. She's still a human being. She's still a person. But she causes fewer emotional reactions in those around her. and lower intensity of emotional reactions of those around her. So therefore, she's low value. Okay? So I just want to make very clear, I'm referring to survival and replication value, not intrinsic value. And I'm referring to the way that those people cause emotions in others. Okay? So all through this weekend, if I say that a guy is high value or a girl is low value or whatever, that's what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the way that other people perceive them and the way that they cause emotional responses in the people around them. A high value guy, people are more reactive to him. They'll have more emotional responses to him. A low value guy, like a beggar, I don't react. Beggar gives me a dirty look, I don't react. So is everyone clear on the idea of value? Survival and replication value. Higher value causes more emotional responses to the people around you. Lower value causes fewer emotional responses. Either way, you're still a human being, but you may cause more or less emotional responses in the people around. And other people will have more, greater or fewer emotional responses that are caused from you. You know, if Brad Pitt walks through the room, I might look at him and follow him with my eyes without even thinking about it. If a dirty beggar walks by, I might not look at him. In one case, I'm reacting. In the other case, I'm not reacting. A hot chick walks by, I react. You ever had a hot chick walk by and you and your friends do that thing?
Never.
You follow her with your eyes. You're reacting to her. Okay? She's perceived as high value, and therefore you're reacting to her. Meanwhile, some fat, ugly chick walks by, and you don't react to her. You don't feel anything. You don't follow her with your eyes. You don't catcall, "Hey, baby." "Hey, big thing." Right? All right. So it's funny. Here we are so early in the seminar. And I'm bringing you to probably what is the most profound truth in pickup, which is that the way that people react conveys their perception of relative value. Okay? If a hot chick walks by and she gets some cat calls, you guys are like, "Hey, baby." What does that tell her? Ooh, they're reacting to me. They want me. They perceive me as high value, higher value than themselves. Okay? If an unattractive woman walks by and you don't react to her, she knows, well, they're not reacting to me. They're not interested in me. They're not attracted to me. See what's going on here? So at one step I said, well, if you perceive some level of value, you're going to have an emotional response that's proportionate to that. The next step is, well, wait a second. That means if people are having emotional responses, then that's betraying their perception of value. It's like they're showing their hand. When I say, "Hey, baby," "Hey, sweet thing," to some cute girl walking by, it's like I just showed her my hand. Oh, I want you really bad. Right? I'm reacting to you. You're not reacting to me. You're higher value than me. I'm lower value than you. Okay? This is why people who catcall and whistle at girls are stupid. Okay? Because what they're doing is, this is what they're actually saying. They're saying, "I'm lower value than you. You're higher than me. I'm lower than you." And she's walking by, she's like, "I know." She doesn't even look, but inside she feels that power. She feels that, "Yeah, you want me. Yeah, I know it. You know it." See what's going on? Why would anyone ever do that unless he just didn't know what he was doing? Why would you ever say, "Hey, you're higher value than me. You're hotter than me. I want you more than you want me"? Why in fuck would you ever say that to somebody? Unless you just didn't know what you were doing. You're just ignorant. Okay? So whenever I see guys do this stuff, I just, I feel like, man, well, whatever. You can't feed Africa. What are you going to do? I mean, it's hopeless. I remember early on when I first found the pickup community, I first learned about pickup and how this stuff works. I was so excited, I wanted to share it with people. Get over that. You need to go up to every guy holding his drink in front of his chest and whistling at girls and say, "Dude, you're telling her that you're a loser. You might as well tattoo loser on your forehead." Like, you just completely disqualified yourself. You took yourself out of the running. When you react to someone, you're conveying to them that you're lower than them. And not only to that person, but everyone around who sees it. When I react to a certain girl, you know, if I'm acting nervous, leaning in, trying to get rapport with her, looking at her, and she's not looking at me or not giving me as much attention, I'm talking more, she's talking less, I'm asking more, she's giving one-word answers, I'm reacting more, she's reacting less. I'm lower value, she's higher value. Not only is she going to perceive it, but everyone else is going to perceive that same value differential. Okay? So when I refer to the value differential, I'm referring to the difference in perceived value between the two of us. No one knows the actual value. People only know the perceived value. Perceived value based on how people are responding and reacting emotionally in the moment.
Could you define a value differential?
The value differential is the difference in perceived value. So if a hot chick walks through, I perceive that she's really hot and I start reacting to her, I'm conveying that to everyone around. Everyone else can see that I must be lower value than her because I'm reacting to her more than she's reacting to me. Right? If I react to someone more than they react to me, then I'm lower value and they're higher value. So there's a difference in value. The value differential. There's a difference in value. And everyone else will perceive it. Every other guy and girl standing around in the room will perceive this value differential. Based on that she's responding a little bit, he's responding a lot, she's higher value, he's lower value. There's a value differential. Okay, question?
Yeah, could the value differential actually be a positive thing if the person was overreacting, but overreacting in a way that was really like interesting or made you want to join that kind of? No.
No.
So it's a constant.
No, it is possible to put out a positive vibe that pulls people in, and I'm going to talk about that. But if I'm reacting to someone, I'm lower than them. Guaranteed. Somehow they have power over me. Either they're holding a gun to my face, which is making me react in a bad way, or she's a really hot chick, so I'm attracted, so I'm reacting because I'm attracted. It's a good kind of reaction. But either way, I'm lower than her. She has power over me. Okay?
Somebody's always reacting to somebody else more.
So, I mean, how could you ever be exactly the same level of reaction? Well, you probably could. You're hanging out with your friend. You guys are similar guys. You're just both chilling, right? You both have about equivalent value. Okay?
Well, say you see a friend of yours you haven't seen in a while, and you're like, hey, you're reacting to your friend. How does that play into this context?
Is he going to react the same way to you? If you're like, hey, man, it's great to see you. And he's like, hey, what's up, bro? Right? But what if it's different? What if you're like, hey, bro, it's so good to see you. And he's like, yeah. Okay? One person's happier than the other. One person's reacting more than the other. Everyone else around is going to feel that emotionally. They may not understand it. They may try and rationalize it based on their belief system. But they're definitely going to feel it.
So it's pretty much a universal truth then.
Yes. It's universal to all cultures. This is the reptilian brain shit right here.
Are you saying that you should always play it like that? Like never overreact? Always play it as if you kind of, you're the leader of the social interaction?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to get into all that, all the specifics of that. Okay? But you guys get the general principle here. The person who's reacting more will always be perceived as having lower value. The person who's reacting more will always be perceived as having lower value. The person who's fidgeting more, the person who's looking more, the person who's trying more, the person who's asking more, the person who's facing with the body and the other person's not, right? Like right now you're facing me with your body, but I'm not facing you with my body. So you're seeking rapport with me, I'm not seeking rapport with you. You're reacting to me, I'm not reacting to you. So anyone who sees us with you facing me, especially if you're standing up facing me, and I'm facing away, is going to perceive me as having higher value than you. And they're going to perceive it at an emotional level. They may not even be consciously aware of it. But emotionally, they're going to feel it. Then they may rationalize it, or they may not notice it. I mean, they get this weird feeling, they don't know what it means, or they try and come up with some reasoning for what it means. You got some white goo around here coming out of your mouth there. You got it. All right. Everyone's with me so far on this. Okay? This is extremely important. So before I even get into openers or routines, or cam material, or any of this stuff, attraction, what I'm doing is I'm giving you the basic ground level understanding of the vibe and the attitudes that we have that convey higher value or lower value. Okay? Women are attracted to higher value. Period. Value causes attraction. If you have a great potential impact on her value, she'll be attracted to you. Okay? Even if it's a negative impact on her value. They call that Stockholm Syndrome. You ever heard about that? Some guy like takes a bank hostage and ends up sleeping with one of the teller girls. Because she's got survival circuitry inside her brain that's like, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. Great potential impact on my value. Great potential impact on my value. And they act out sexually in order to protect their survival value. See, unlike men, for a woman to be sexually attractive is critical to her survival. Not in reality, but in her emotional programming. Okay? All right, so here's what that means. Let's say that you take a man and put him in the woods with an axe and a matchbook and whatever. He'll probably do okay. He'll probably be able to survive. A woman probably will not. Okay? That's actually a bad example. It's better to go back in time and look at the ancestral environment where our emotions evolved. Okay? So if we go back in time to a cave woman, right, that 10,000 years ago or whatever, okay? The cave woman is in more danger out by herself than the caveman. Her survival is more dependent on her mate than the other way around. Okay? Imagine a caveman and a cave woman. If there's a cave woman, whatever. Imagine there's the man and the woman, the ancestral environment, man and woman. Okay? He needs her for replication more than she needs him. Okay? I need her replication value more than she needs mine. She can go get another man. She can go get replication value from another man. But it's much more difficult for me to get replication value from another woman. Okay? Similarly, she needs my survival value more than I need hers. I don't need the woman to survive as much as the woman needs me to survive. Okay, again, this is in the ancestral environment. This is in the caveman days. Okay? When you have a man and a woman in the caveman days, the man needs the woman more for replication, and the woman needs the man more for survival. The man will tend to be attracted to indicators, cues, that indicate replication value. And the woman will be attracted to indicators, like cues, that indicate survival value. Okay? So what are some things that indicate replication value? What do men look for in women? Youth, health, hip-to-waist ratio of 0.7, breast size, facial symmetry, skin quality, and hair quality. Okay? If you have good quality, long, lustrous hair, as opposed to, let's say you're diseased, your hair is not going to look as good as if you're in good health. Okay? Healthy looking hair is an indication of health. It's a health indicator. It's a replication value indicator. So men tend to be attracted to healthy looking hair more than women do. A woman will hook up with a guy who's bald. Okay? But men look for hair as one example of a cue that men find attractive. And notice that women all grow out their hair long? And men tend to have shorter hair than women? Because women are cueing their replication value. If a woman's attracted to a man, she starts playing with her hair like this. What she's doing is she's drawing attention to her replication value. She's not consciously aware of it. She's programmed to do this at an emotional level. At an emotional level, she's going to do this. Hip-to-waist ratio of 0.7. What is that? This is the wider hips that women have. For some reason, 0.7 is just what men find attractive. Even in the days when people were attracted to heavier women or thinner women, either way, it was always a ratio of 0.7 from the hip to waist. Okay? If the hips are any broader, then the woman loses the ability to walk on two legs. Bipedalism requires a narrow hip range. Any wider, and they can't walk standing up. Any narrower, and they can't give birth because of the huge size of the brain case in the human being. Okay? So the hip to waist ratio of 0.7 is just perfect to where they can walk properly and they can still give birth. The men who were attracted to that passed on their genes better than the men who were not. The men who were attracted to slimmer hips had the mother die in childbirth, and the baby had a bigger chance of dying, and those genes didn't get passed on at a statistical level. Make sense? Okay. Whereas when a woman looks at a man, there are certain physical indicators there, of course, because they impact her survival. Is he tall? Is he strong? Does he have broad shoulders? These are things that women are attracted to. Okay? The men who had those features tended to survive better. The women who were attracted to that tended to pass on their genes better. The women who were not attracted to that did not pass on their genes better. So you go over evolutionary time, and you see what got weeded out and what got selected in. Okay? So what this means is that because women are attracted to survival value, is that back in the days when those emotions evolved, in the ancestral environment, women needed men for survival. If a woman wasn't able to snare a good man, then her survival chances went down. Okay? It's actually two things. They needed a good man, they needed a pair bond, and they also needed a social network. Their social alignments. In the old days, in the ancestral days, women relied more on their social networks for survival as a safety net, and also on their pair bond for survival. Okay? Men too, but not as much. A man did not rely on his wife for survival. He relied on her for replication value, and that's what men select for. Okay? A man could probably go off in the woods and live alone. It would be tough, but he tends to do a lot better in a social environment. So men, again, having good social alignments is important to men, but it's more important to women because their survival is more on the line. Okay? The same thing, for a woman to have a man, her survival's on the line. For a man to have a woman, his replication's on the line. For a woman to have a man, her survival's on the line. Back in the old days, if she had a good man, she had a better percentage chance of surviving and passing on her genes. If she did not have a man, she did not have as good of a percentage chance of passing on her genes. So the women who had the emotions that felt like, I need a man, I need a man, I need a man, those emotions got passed on. The women who had other emotions like, whatever, I don't need a man, they didn't get passed on as well. Those genes did not get passed on nearly so well. Okay, so now fast forward and go to some futuristic time when everyone's fed. When you could be a woman by yourself and you get your own little apartment and fresh food from the grocery store and a job for 50 grand a year and all this kind of stuff. And she doesn't need a man. She's just fine. She go work as a secretary. She go get her own apartment, have food, have a nice safe bed to sleep in. And she's cool. Okay? But those emotions are still there. Those emotions are still saying, I need a man, I need a man, I need a man. See what I'm saying? The emotional programming is still the emotional programming that was there in the ancestral environment. Okay? So when I say that a woman needs a man, I'm not saying that she logically needs a man in actuality. Although actually all over much of the world that is still true. But what I'm really saying is that she needs a man at an emotional level. Emotionally, she needs a man. Just like emotionally you need to get laid. Well, you can live without it. But on an emotional level, it's a very powerful urge that you want to get laid. Same thing with women. They want to get a man. But it's emotional level. Okay? If a woman feels like her survival's at stake, she uses her sexuality to ensure her survival. Okay? Women use their sexuality, especially, again, look at the ancestral environment. These are sexuality to help land a good man. Okay? So that's why when I was referring to Stockholm Syndrome earlier, where if a woman feels like her survival value is at threat, then emotion activates inside of her that tends to try and use her sexuality to protect her life.
So then why do you have girls that like don't date for years?
You have all kinds of variety out there. What I'm looking at is more of the statistics.
Oh,
Okay? And that's all emotions are. Emotions are your best statistical chance. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to talk about jealousy for a second. Do you know what jealousy is? Jealousy, there's a great book, by the way, called The Dangerous Passion by David Buss. I strongly recommend this book, The Dangerous Passion by David Buss. I don't remember if there's one S or two. Maybe just one. The Dangerous Passion. He also wrote a book, which is probably the best book on evolutionary psychology that there is. He's the guy who founded evolutionary psychology, by the way. He wrote a book called The Evolution of Desire. I strongly recommend this book to you. The Evolution of Desire by David Buss. This is a real eye-opener. You'll see things never the same again. Okay, but anyway, he wrote this book called The Dangerous Passion. And I remember this section, the book's about jealousy. And here's what jealousy is. Jealousy is an emotion that is designed to protect a pair bond, designed to protect an alignment of some sort. Any alignment that's important to survival or replication. Okay? We're designed to form social alignments and sexual alignments based on our perception of the value differential. So remember when I was saying that people are attracted to higher value? Okay? So here's what that means. If I'm attracted to higher value, it means I'm attracted to people that I perceive will have a high potential positive impact on my own value. Okay? So I see a hot chick, that's a potential good impact on my value. Therefore, I'll have an emotional reaction. I'll be attracted to her. If I get her into a pair bond, and anytime I view that that pair bond is under threat, jealousy will activate to protect the pair bond. Okay? Those people who had the emotion of jealousy protected their pair bonds more than the people who didn't. Therefore, they passed on their genes, and other people didn't. Today, you got billions of people on this earth who all experience jealousy. Because the ancestors who didn't experience jealousy got weeded out. Okay? So imagine that you're standing here and you look across the street and you see a man and a woman and they start to kiss. And you feel nothing. No, whatever. But now let's say I see the same thing, but it's my girlfriend. I see a man start to kiss my girlfriend. Boom. Just like the hot stove. My whole body fills with this powerful feeling. Right? I fill with a rage, and I immediately start running over there before I even know what's going on. I'm already running over there to do something about it. I'm filled with rage. Okay? Because this time, it's not just some man and a woman. This time, it's a threat to my pair bond, which activates jealousy. And I go running across the street. It motivates my behavior. Right? That has a potential impact on my replication strategy. So therefore, it activates an emotion. Okay? Now here's what he said in the book. They did this study where they had couples that had jealousy problems. So the couples would go in for couples counseling. They show up for counseling, and there's like, I don't know how many couples in the study, maybe 1,000 couples or something. And so I'm going to take a sample couple. Let's say that the man thinks the woman's cheating. So they go in for therapy, and she says, man, this is terrible. He's a big pain in the ass. He's always angry. He's always in a jealous rage. He's always tracking my movements. He won't let me go anywhere. He won't let me hang out with my friends. Anytime that there's another man around, he acts threatening towards the other man, and it's embarrassing. And it's really bad for my, it's a problem, And they turn to the man and say, well, what's up here, bro? And he says, look, I don't know what to say. This powerful feeling comes over me, and suddenly I start calling her and telling her she can't go out. And I mean, look, I know it's a problem. That's why I'm here. I'm in couples therapy. I know it's a problem. Can you please fix this? Please fix it. Right? So in this study, what they did was then they would take her aside and they say, okay, look. It's completely confidential. It's a study. It's for science. All right? Did you cheat on him? 90% of the time, she was cheating on him. Or he was cheating on her, whichever. There's 1,000 couples in the study. Whatever, how many 1,000 couples. Okay? 90% of the time. And this is when the other partner thought they were wrong. I don't know what to say. These feelings come over me. I know it's a problem. Can we fix it? He thinks that she's innocent. But these emotions are activating. 90% accuracy. 90% of the time, it's accurate. Okay? So how did he know? Well, why did the emotion activate? Well, we don't know. Some little cues in his environment that were picked up at an unconscious level triggered that emotion and caused pair bond protection behavior. Protect my pair bond, threaten other males, isolate my wife, keep her from going out, keep her from other people, threaten other males, right? And those behaviors help protect his chances of passing on his genes and having little jealous children. Right? And if that guy didn't have that emotion activate, he may not have started going into protection mode, and he ends up raising some other guy's kid unknowingly. And his genes get weeded out. The more jealous people pass on their genes better than the less jealous people, statistically. Okay? So 90% of the time it was activating accurately. 10% of the time it was misfiring. Okay, 10% of the time it was overzealous. The emotion activated even when she was innocent. Okay? Now let me ask you something. From a statistical perspective, going over evolutionary time, what's better for your strategy, your mating strategy? To be a little overjealous or a little underjealous? Right? Those people who are a little overjealous, even though they're wrong sometimes, they still pass on their genes better than the people who are underjealous. Okay? So the emotion doesn't have to be exactly accurate. It just has to give you a good statistical chance. Got it? All emotions are like this. All emotions give you a good statistical chance, even though they're wrong sometimes. Emotion can be wrong 49% of the time. You know, as long as it still gives you a benefit 51% of the time, you know. Or hell, let's say the emotion's wrong even 80% of the time, but that 20% of the time when it's right gives you such a great benefit that it's still worth it. And then the gene gets passed on. Make sense? In evolutionary psychology, they call this the principle of the least costly mistake. The example that's used in the book, The Dangerous Passion, is let's say that I'm walking through the woods and there's some leaves on the ground and they move a little bit. Shh. Is there a snake? Well, I don't know. Okay? I get a cue from my environment. Shh. I went, whoa, what was that? Right? I don't know. I don't have perfect knowledge what's under those leaves. I'm not God. I just have some cue that indicates some possibility. And now my emotional circuitry has to make a decision. They say, okay, well, I can walk through. If I'm wrong, let's say, okay, there's no snake. I'm just going to walk through. If I'm wrong, I die. Snake comes up and bites me and I die. Okay? But if I'm right, then I just walk through and there's nothing there. I'm cool. Let's say that I'm a little overcautious. I say, well, there might be a snake there. I'm going to climb around. So I climb around. It costs me a bunch of extra energy. You know, I just wasted some food by climbing around and climbing back up again. And I go around the spot. Now, I could be right or wrong there as well. I could be wrong either way. This time I climbed around and there was nothing there. I just wasted energy and wasted time over a snake that wasn't even there. Okay? So either way, I'm going to make a mistake. Sometimes I'll walk through and get bit. Sometimes I'll climb around and there was nothing there. Either way, you can make a mistake. So the question to you is, which mistake is more costly? Okay? If I climb around, maybe I wasted a little energy, but I'm still alive. Okay? But if I walk through and get bit by a snake and I die, that mistake was more costly than the mistake of wasting a little energy. Which, if you had the choice, which mistake would you rather make? You'd probably rather waste a little energy as opposed to die. Okay? So that's called the principle of the least costly mistake. So you can bet that your emotional circuitry is programmed to make you have decisions based on the least costly mistake. You're likely to be a little overjealous rather than a little underjealous. You're likely to be a little overcautious rather than a little undercautious. You think there might be a snake there? You know? Or you're opening up a dark water heater closet and you're going to reach around the back where there's a black widow spider or whatever. You're going to tend towards a little overcaution as opposed to undercaution, based on whatever cues indicated danger in the ancestral environment where those emotions evolved. Here's another example of this. Okay, what do you think kills more people than anything else in the city of Los Angeles? Cars. Okay? How many people do you think are in therapy right now for unnatural fear of cars? Probably zero. How many people are in therapy for unnatural fear of snakes? Spiders. Rats. Quite a few. Isn't that interesting? Notice that the emotions are programmed not based on what's the actual danger, but based on what was the danger in the ancestral environment where those emotions evolved. Okay? Those emotions are trying to make the least costly mistake. Historically, little kids who were scared of snakes, women who were scared of snakes, etc., stayed away where there might be a snake, passed on their genes better. Okay? If there had been cars driving around for the past, 100,000 years, then maybe there would be people today with the fear of cars. But those cars have been around for 100 years. No one's emotions have had time to adjust to that. Okay? What are some other examples of emotions that motivate our behavior? Loneliness. Loneliness is an emotion designed to help you replicate. You ever been sitting at home by yourself, you're like, oh, I'm lonely. I feel so alone. Right? It sucks. Maybe you watch TV the next night. At some point, you're going to get off your ass and take a shower and go out, and you're going to go in a bar. Even though it's intimidating, even though it can be a little scary, you force yourself to go out and do it because that loneliness is so overpowering. Okay? Your emotional circuitry is making the least costly mistake. It would rather have you feel a little over lonely than have you not pass on your genes. The people who felt under lonely and never made it got weeded out. They don't exist. They didn't pass on their genes. People who felt a little over lonely got out more, had more children, had children who feel over lonely. Okay? What's another emotion to protect you? Shyness. Let's say that you're a caveman walking through the woods and you see a group of strange people. You feel shy. You feel cautious. Okay? These people might kill you. They might brain you with a rock or something. Okay? So you shy away to protect your survival. The people who weren't shy, the people who walked right up, were more likely to get killed. The people who shied away were more likely to pass on their genes later. Now, isn't this interesting that these emotions are diametrically opposed? Loneliness gets you out there to meet new people. Shyness moves you away from new people. Okay? But isn't it funny that you tend to feel both at the same time? You'd be at home feeling lonely. Oh, I got to go out and meet new people. You go out, there's new people, you feel shy. Right? The very thing that loneliness was motivating me to do, the shyness pushes me away. Okay? Now you might say, Chris, buddy, which emotion is right? Okay? Neither one and both. Okay? Emotions aren't logic. There is no right or wrong. Okay? Which is going to happen? Well, whichever one you feel more strongly. Right? If I'm uncomfortable here and uncomfortable there, where am I going to end up? Whichever one feels worse is the one I'm going to move, It might be uncomfortable here, but it's worse over there. So I'm going to end up over here. Which emotion do you feel more strongly? Well, if you're feeling shyness a lot more powerfully, then you'll feel the loneliness, and that sucks, but it's not great enough to overcome the shyness. Okay, but let's say that you feel shy. I see new people, I feel shy, but my loneliness is so powerful that it overcomes that other feeling, and the stronger feeling wins. Okay? So I want you guys to understand that you can have multiple emotions that conflict with each other, and that's normal. They're both right. They're both trying to protect you. They're both trying to do what's the best for you based on some statistical chance. And whichever one you feel more powerfully is probably going to be the one that motivates your behavior the most. Okay? Have you ever played blackjack? If anyone who's ever played blackjack knows that there's a certain move that's the best statistical chance for that hand. We call that basic strategy blackjack. Okay? So if I'm playing blackjack and I've got, a 10 and a 7 or a 10 and a 6, if the dealer has one card showing, I might want to hit. But if the dealer has some other card showing, I might want to stand. Okay? That's just the best statistical move for those cards. I've got these cards, he's got that card. The best possible move that I could make statistically is to hit or to stand or whatever it is in that case. Okay? Now, let's say that I make the best statistical move. I can still lose the hand. Okay? Well, let's say I make a bad move. I can still win the hand. Okay? But I just have less of a chance of winning the hand if I make a bad move. Okay? So think about this. Basic strategy blackjack doesn't tell you what's going to perfectly win every hand. That's impossible. But what it does do is it tells you what will give you the best statistical chance. The same is true of your emotions. Okay? Your emotions are not always right. They're very accurate, like jealousy, for example, 90% accurate. Okay? That's pretty damn good. That's worth listening to and taking seriously. 90% accurate. Okay? But at the same time, your emotions are not God. Emotions can be wrong. They're just trying to give you the best statistical chance. Your emotion can get you killed. As long as it helps most people pass on their genes, if a couple percent die because of it, it's going to get passed on. Here's one way I like to explain this to people. Let's say that there was a gene that caused you to have twice as many children. Every time some girl gets pregnant, she has 2 babies because of your gene. But 1 out of 100 times your head explodes. Okay? So you got a gene that 1 out of 100 times it makes your head explode, but it doubles the birth rate. Okay, what's going to happen? 1,000 years from now, there's going to be all these people with this head explosion problem. The whole Earth, right? Because you have a double birth rate for those people. So the whole Earth is going to be people, and 1 out of 100, their head explodes. They get to be 30 years old. Boom! Head explodes. You know? It's like this terrible head explosion problem has been going on for, doctors are still working on a solution, Why is that gene out there? So this is the same thing. People ask me about, well, what about the gay gene? How does that pass on your genes? Okay? Well, let's say there's some gene that, makes you more nurturing towards children. And the men with that gene pass on their genes better and have more children and healthier children. But 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 becomes gay. Right? The gene still provides a benefit in such a great percentage of the population that it gets passed on, it propagates. Every now and then you get a gay guy or whatever. People say, well, how do you explain that? Well, very simple. As long as the strategy from that gene increases your chances of survival and replication on a statistical level, you can have individual victims as long as statistically your chances are increased. The same is true with all your emotions. Every time you feel an emotion, here's what it's doing. It's giving you the best statistical chance. That's what it's doing. Okay? You might listen to your emotion and do what it says and get killed because of it. Okay? But out of 100 people, more will live. Otherwise, it wouldn't have got passed on. Make sense? Another thing I want to mention is that romantic love is value-based. Yeah, I said before, people are attracted to value. I see a chick with high value, I feel attracted. Okay? Romantic love is value-based. Let me give you an example of this just to make it very clear. Let's say that we have a woman and she's got a son who's a problem child. He's a big pain in the ass. He's embarrassment, he's violent, he knocks things over, he screams in public. Okay? So she's like, you know what, this kid's a pain in the ass. You get rid of him. She gets rid of him. Okay? Notice that immediately we judge her for that. We say, how in the world can you do that to your own child? How could you get rid of your own child? So what if he screamed in public? Right? Because the parental love is unconditional. Parental love is unconditional. Because for a woman to love her son no matter what helps her pass on her genes better than a woman who selectively loves. Oh, I don't love this one. I love that one. No, I don't love this one so much. She's not going to pass on her genes as better or as well as a woman who I love you no matter what. I love you no matter what. That's the woman who's going to pass on her genes. Okay? Now let's take the same example and apply it to romantic love. Say you've got a woman who's got a boyfriend. He screams in public. He knocks things over. He gets violent. Okay? Suddenly, now we judge her for not getting rid of him. With the child, you say, how could you get rid of him? What's wrong with you? We judge her for getting rid of him. But with romantic love, we judge her for not getting rid of him. How can she keep that guy around? Does she have low self-esteem? What's wrong with her? Okay? It's perfectly expected for people to select based on value in romantic love. Because again, that's what's best for their sexual strategy, for their mating strategy. If you select low-value people, your offspring have a lower survival chance. If you select high-value people, then your offspring have a higher survival and replication chance. Okay? So it's actually expected that you would select on value. If you don't select based on value, there's something wrong with you. You know, she can do better than that. See, it's not just that she could do better than that. It's that she's expected to do better than that. If she has the option, she should take it. And if she doesn't, there's something wrong with her. She's programmed wrong or something. Something's fucked up. See what's going on here? It's actually the moral thing. Oh man, that guy, she's not right for her. It's not right. She needs to get rid of him. She needs someone who's going to be good for her. It's actually the good and moral thing to select based on value, romantically. Okay? So, here's where we are now. We know that when you react a certain way, you lower your value. And if you don't react, then you maintain your value. Okay? If I'm reacting to someone and they're not reacting to me, then I'm lower value than them and they're higher value than me. Okay? So, there's a set of attitudes, there's a vibe that you need to put out socially that affects the way that people perceive your value, that affects whether people are attracted to you or not. Okay? Question?
Yeah, just a question. Sorry, let's say someone's, like, you're in a set or something, you're talking to one guy tries to bring down your value. You're saying, as opposed to reacting and having it come back, just ignoring them?
Oh, yeah. Think about it. If he's trying to bring down my value, if he's trying harder than I am, he's reacting more than I am, he's lower value than I am. Okay? And that's actually the classical trick in the community is when some guy starts fucking with you to just ignore him. Cool, man. And just keep talking like he's not there. And if he keeps like, hey, bro, hey, I'm talking to you. Hey, over here, hey, hello. Right? I'm like, cool, bro. And anyway, last week, blah, 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 right? And he keeps talking, hey, man. Right? I'm ignoring him. He's reacting to me. My value is going up and his value is going down. Just like that. Okay? Any of you who've ever taken an RSD program, you've seen that these guys use this to generate attraction. They'll actually go into a set and start talking to the girls, and the guy starts getting reactive. And the guy starts saying, hey, hello, hey, bro. And they just ignore him, keep talking to the girls. They're using it to leapfrog their value. They're using it to push his value down and push their value up until he gets blown out. Okay? So if some guy comes into your set, the stupidest thing you can do is turn towards him and start reacting to him. All you're doing is giving your power to him. And then what he'll do if he's smart is he won't look at you. He'll just talk to your girls. You're turning towards him, he's not turning towards you. Right? You're looking at him, he's not looking at you. So you're lower value than him, he's higher value than you. It's that simple. Just give people the minimum acknowledgement to where you're not a social violator. You know, because if I completely ignore him, then now maybe I'm rude and I become a violator. But I give him the minimum acknowledgement necessary that I'm cool, it's not my fault, and other than that, completely ignore him. And as he continues to react to me, and I'm not reacting to him, then my value is going up and his value is going down.
Does that include ex-girlfriends?
Yeah. But if it comes off like you're trying, like for example, let's say you're ignoring her, and she can tell like you're just trying, right? Then she won't take it like you're being unreactive. She'll take it like you're trying to punish her. Like you're being reactive. Okay? She'll be like, oh, hi. You'll be like, oh, hey. She'll like tell that you're just trying to act too cool for school. Right? You're trying to whatever with her. Whatever, right? You come off reactive. That's what women do when they're saying, whatever, fine then. Right? What they're doing is they're trying to act like, I don't care, I'm not reacting to you. But really, you can tell she's reacting, right? Fine. It's too obvious. It's like she's reacting. She's trying to act like it doesn't bother her, act like she's ignoring you. But you can tell she's having an emotional reaction. Same idea. All right? So there's a certain vibe that you want to put out. We all know that if you put out a certain vibe that's bad, then you'll get bad results. If you come off needy, clingy, try hard, this sort of thing, you come off like you're reactive, your value's dropping. We also know there's a certain vibe you can put out that's good that gets you better results. So, what do we do here? What are the vibes to avoid? What are the vibes to do? And the way that I like to describe this is as a yin-yang. Okay, so imagine the yin-yang. So there's a set of yin attitudes, and there's a set of yang attitudes. And I need for you guys to have both. Okay? I'm going to describe what they are. But I want you to have the yin attitudes, and I want you to have the yang attitudes. So first, I want you to visualize this for a second. The yin is like being a ghost. Things can't touch you. The yin is the way that you're not affected by other people. It's the way that you're not reactive to other people and other vibes. Okay, it's that whole being unreactive thing. That's the yin. Okay? So it's like being a ghost. If you get some shit thrown from the monkey bin, the monkey throws shit at you, and you're a ghost, it doesn't touch you. It just passes right through. I'm completely unaffected. I didn't even notice it, whatever. Okay? That's the yin. Now the yang is, so remember, the yin is the way you're not affected by other people. Okay? The yang is the way that you do affect other people. It's the way that you affect other people. So for the yang, instead of visualizing a ghost, I want you to visualize something else. I want you to visualize a Care Bear stare. You guys know what that is? All right. So the Care Bears was this cheesy little girly cartoon from the 80s. And they had all these little fluffy teddy bear looking creatures. And each one of them had a different symbol on his chest. Like a rainbow. It's probably the gay bear. Hey. No pun intended. Maybe one with little flowers or something, one with butterflies or whatever the fuck, a little lucky four-leaf clover on its chest or whatever. And in the cartoon, there would be some nasty old bad guy. He's always bitter and angry and pissed off. And the Care Bears, at the end of the cartoon, they always transform the bad guy by doing what they call the Care Bear stare, where they would shoot this beam of light right off of their chest, and it would hit the guy. You'd be like, Care Bear stare, and they go like this, and these beam of light would come off of the chest and hit, Gargamel or whoever, hit the guy, and he'd start glowing with this golden light, and flowers start popping up, and butterflies are flying around, and gumdrops and stuff, and he starts turning into this happy guy. He's like, oh, I'm happy now, and he's no longer a bad guy, right? He feels this warm vibe coming, okay? And sometimes they would even all gang up. You'd have like 10 or 12 Care Bears, and here comes a nasty old bad guy, and they'd be like, Care Bear stare! And they all go like this, and boom, and they hit him with this beam of light, and he'd be like, oh, no, and bloop, 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 bloop. The rainbows and butterflies are popping up around him, and like, whatever, his teeth grow back, whatever, Okay? So, this is a very good picture, okay? Because when you picture this Care Bear shining this bright light, okay, that's your yang, okay? That's where it's the way that you do affect other people. It's the way that you put good, positive feelings out in the vibe to other people. Okay? So the yin is like being a ghost, where you're not affected by other people. And the yang is the warm light of your charisma that you shine down on people and give them good, positive emotion. Make sense? All right, so let me go through some of the specifics here.
So you're reactive then? With the yang, you're reactive?
No.
It's just
You're proactive.
proactive.
You're creative. Okay? The yang is something that you do on your own, not because you're reacting to someone else. Not because someone else said something. But just because that's the vibe I put out. I'm not doing that in reaction to one guy or another. I'm just doing it because that's my personality vibing out. Okay? So now I'm going to get here into some of the specifics on the yin and the yang. We'll start with the yin. Unreactive, unaffected, Okay, we already got that part. Like the ghost. Chill. Okay, not overly dramatic. You ever notice that lower value people are always more reactive? They're always more overly dramatic. They're drama queens. You ever notice there's always some drama going on in a trailer park? Notice that? All right. So I want you to write down this mantra. No big deal. No big deal. This is a big one. A lot of guys, they ask me, well, what do you do if a girl calls you in flakes? Well, I get flakes all the time. How do I deal with a flake? This girl called me up. I had a date set up with her and she flaked. I was like, you fucking made a plan. You just need to keep your plans. You made a date with me. You know, I'm not going to be disrespected like this. You know, some people, they got it from SS or whatever, that you're not supposed to put up with women's shit. I'm not going to put up with their shit. Okay? If a girl calls me and says, hey, I can't make it Friday, okay, I'm not going to react. I'm going to be like, no big deal. That's my yin energy. No big deal, unaffected, unreactive. Hey, don't be mad, but I can't make it on Friday. Like, oh, we're supposed to go out on Friday? Don't worry about it, baby. It's no big deal. I actually got some friends coming over Friday anyway. Whatever. Actually, I wouldn't have a chick out on a date in the first place, by the way. I don't do that shit anymore. Instead, I would text message like 10 or 20 girls and invite them over. Then out of those, like 2 or 3 will show up. They'll bring 2 or 3 friends each, whatever, and we'll have a party. And then I'll end up pulling one back in my room. Make sense? Especially down in Project Miami, after the first few months, I went for probably 2 months without like getting any girls at all until I started to really adjust to the Miami culture. And then I started pulling every night consistently. And what we would do is I would never pull a girl and then try to go on a date with her. I would either pull her and sleep with her that same night, or I would number close her, and then I would send her a text message the next night or 2 or whatever and be like, you know, hey, we're partying over at the house, come on over, cool people, you know, no guys, don't embarrass me, whatever. I send it to like 10 or 20 girls. Right? Out of those, 2 or 3 show up, they bring 2 friends each or something. One comes alone, whatever. I got 5, 10, 15 girls. They're coming around. No expectations. I'm just some cool guy they met and exchanged phone numbers. It's not like I'm trying to get something. And they come over and they have a fun little party, and maybe one of them meets Mystery or one of them meets whoever, Matador. Make sense? Okay, so if a girl calls me up and cancels on me, I don't care. I've already got cool shit going on anyway. You know, I'm already hanging out with some girls. I'm already going out with some girls tomorrow night. I already have a party going on. I'm already going to be sitting at a bottle service somewhere or whatever. Or back at the house lounging around the pool. I guarantee you, I've got cool, fun, yang stuff going on. I'm not going to be all upset or pissy that she couldn't make it. Right? It's no big deal. Don't be mad. Oh, it's no big deal, baby. Don't worry about it. Look, I'm going to call you next week. We got a party going on or something. I got to go. Okay? No big deal. Question?
Do you still feel a little bit of a loss? Like you kind of, you know, like that girl? So you're kind of desensitized to...
Dude, you know how many girls there are? No, I feel nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like, the truth is, if I had her coming over, I really did have 10 other girls coming over. I really did. I got a girl upstairs right now. Okay?
How about when you were starting, or some ways that helped you get into this?
No, I used to get pissed off, right? I can't make it. Or worse, they just wouldn't show up, right? They just don't show up. And I would get pissed off. But I realize I'm just working it wrong. I'm putting too much weird romantic pressure on the situation instead of just being chill. Who cares? I don't care. I'm not trying to get something. I'm not playing like I don't care. I really don't care. I know I'm really going to get laid. I know I'm really going to have 3 other girls over tomorrow, and I'm going to go out with my friends the next night and probably pull a 5-set back to the house. And, you know, and then the next night I'm going to text message 3 or 4 girls, and one of them's going to show up or whatever every fucking day of my life. You know? I do not care at all. I don't give a fuck. You know? That's what they're looking for. They're looking for that Brad Pitt guy who's got 1,000 girls. If they find some guy where it's really important to him, it's really important to me, I hope you're there, You know, oh, we're going to go out on a nice romantic dinner, like the creepy, that immediately scares her off. Immediately makes her feel like I'm a low-value guy. Okay? All right. Here's another thing about the yin energy. Again, no big deal, right? Whatever. Okay? Is that I'm not willing to argue. I just don't care enough. I'm not even in that headspace in the first place. Okay? I don't need understanding from others. I don't care if other people get it, if other people understand me or not. Okay?
So what about establishing boundaries, personal boundaries?
Let me put it this way. The high-value person doesn't punish. The high-value person withdraws. Okay? My personal boundary, let's say that someone's behaving a certain way that's not up to my standards and I don't want to be involved in that. I'm not going to come try and, hey man, look, you can't do that shit. Right? I'm just going to get distracted and talk to someone else. But I don't punish him. I don't react to him. I just withdraw. Not because I'm trying to punish him, but just because I got interested in other shit. High-value person has a million options. High-value person has all kind of options. Okay, let's say that Mystery's talking to some girl and she starts acting snooty. And he just, oh, what's that? Oh, there's another girl. Oh, hey, how's it going, right? He forgets that she's there. He's not trying to punish her. You know, he just has other options. He got distracted by something else. Okay? All right. The reason I'm not willing to argue is because it just doesn't matter enough to me. I just don't care enough. You know, I'm just not that important. I don't care. I don't need that understanding from others. I don't need someone else to understand what I'm saying. You know, if I say, well, this and this, and he goes, no, actually, A, B, C, D, E. And I'm like, no, X, Y, Z. He's like, no, A, B, C, D, E. I'm like, no, don't you see? You see, why do I care? Why do I care? Why do I need him to understand what I'm saying? You know? Let's say that I say this. I go, you know what, X, Y, Z. And he goes, actually, no, A, B, C. I'm like, okay, bro. Notice? I just didn't care. Okay, that's cool. I'm not trying to make him feel bad. I'm not like, whatever, be that way then. I'm not like that. I'm totally cool. All right, cool, bro. I mean, think about it. If you have $10 million in the bank, and you're in perfect health, you look really good, and you just had a blowjob, do you really care? Hey, I don't like your shirt. Okay. Hey, you're a fucking weirdo. Okay, all right. Okay? Okay, I want you to watch my body language while I'm talking. Okay? Notice how I look lazy, loose, very loose and lazy. And this is what I do in set. I'll be out in the field talking to people. Some girl will say, you know, where are you from? Okay, that's an IOI, by the way, indicator of interest, right? I say, well, I'm from California. Okay. I could have given her a hoop. You know, oh, I got an interest, I can give a compliance test. Okay, I'm going to teach microcalibration probably tomorrow. But if I got a hoop, then I can give a compliance test. So where are you from? I'm like, oh, let me see your hands. Right? I got an indicator of interest, so I give a compliance test. Where are you from? Oh, let me see your hands. She gives me her hands, I do a little trust test or whatever, do a Keno test. And I say, actually, I'm from California. Okay. Or I could just answer it, yeah, I'm from California. And she goes, I hate people from California. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Right? I'm like, why? No. Why do I care? Why do I care what she thinks? Unless she's higher value than me, why else would I be reacting to her? You don't see me reacting to a rock. What? What? Why am I reacting to her? Unless she's higher value than me. That's what she's going to feel emotionally. Oh, I'm higher value. Right? When she says, I hate people from California, I'm like, oh, okay. Right? Then she feels that I'm higher value. She starts reacting more. I start giving her more compliance tests, etc., etc., etc. Okay? All right. Being non-judgmental. There's two reasons why I want to be non-judgmental. The first reason is because you always want to give people good feelings, not bad feelings. So when you're judging people, it gives them bad feelings. That causes them to move away, right? Put your hand on a hot stove, bad feeling, move away. Right? So same thing. I make her feel like I'm judging her, bad feeling, she moves away. Okay, the other reason that you want to be non-judgmental is because people feel free to indulge when they don't feel like they're being judged for doing so. Okay?
Feel free to indulge.
Like, for example, notice that girls are easier to have sex with when they're on vacation. Because when I'm on vacation, they're not being judged. She can hook up with a sexy Latin dance teacher, and she's not going to have her whole social circle at home judge her for it. She's not going to be judged. She's free to behave how she really wants to without fear of social repercussions. Okay? So if I'm speaking in a judgmental way, while I'm talking to her, I'm judging other people, what that's going to do is that's going to make her be all prim and proper around me. She's not going to relax and indulge and feel comfortable and free to do what she really feels like doing because she's going to feel that judgment on her. She's going to be completely non-judgmental. Okay? I might feel it inside. Some girl might say, I used to be on crack and I've had 4 abortions. Right? I'll be like, cool, whatever. Okay? I may not hook up with her, but I don't want her to feel that judgment upon her. I want her to feel completely free to say those things in front of me. Think about it. If she didn't feel comfortable, she might not ever say that, and I would never find out. I would never find out that she was a crack whore. Right? Well, I almost opened up and told him how I used to be a crack whore, but then he talked about how that one girl was a slut, so then I just kept quiet. Right? But if I seem completely non-judgmental, well, that girl, fucked the whole basketball team in high school. I'd be like, oh, well, to each their own. Okay, when I say that, now the girl who just told me that feels more comfortable to open up to me. Because she feels like she's not going to be judged. It's my yin. No big deal. Unaffected. Chill. Okay, what does it mean to be chill and relaxed? It means that your comfort level should look the same in the bar as it does at home when you're walking around the house in your boxer shorts holding a beer looking at the game on TV. Game's on TV. I'm holding my beer. I'm watching the game. I got my boxers on. I'm kind of walking around. I'm totally loose. I'm a little lazy looking. I'm relaxed and comfortable. I should look exactly the same way in a bar. And a lot of guys, you see, they get in the bar and whoop, the drink goes up on their chest and they're looking around and they're kind of stiff. Okay? They're having a reaction in there that they're being intimidated, right? They have this reaction that they don't have when they're just relaxing at home. However your body language looks when you're relaxing at home is exactly how it should look when you're in the bar. I hold my drink not like this, not like a security blanket, and I look around like, well, where's the fun stuff? And, Instead, I'm loose and relaxed and comfortable. And that's the vibe that I put out all around me. That's my yin vibe. Okay? So, not being passive-aggressive. Being passive-aggressive shows that you're irritated by someone. You have this inward annoyance and irritation, and you're trying to get back. You're trying to punish that person. Let me give you an example. I went to a club recently in San Diego, and in California it's illegal to smoke inside. You have to smoke out on the patio. So this club has a patio on the side. It also has a front door with a bouncer guarding the door. And this is the hot night. It was like Wednesday night, but it's the hot night for that bar. It's a club. Everyone's dressed up to the nines. All the guys have the same generic diagonal striped shirts. This is the guy suit, the bro suit we call it. Bro. Those guys. They all wear the exact same outfit. You'll see like 5 of them or 10 of them, and they all have the exact same outfit. It's a diagonal striped shirt, nice button-up shirt with designer pants and like shiny leather shoes. Shiny leather shoes, designer pants, diagonal striped shirt. And there'll be like fucking 5 of them. And they'll be walking around, bro! Those guys, the bros. Right? So there's all these guys filling the bar. And there's all these girls dressed to the nines. They got their heels on and their little short skirts and all their makeup and their hair's done right. And they're all looking hot. All right? So I walked up there wearing exactly this outfit. And I had a girl with me. And we both had sandals on. And so I walked up to the front door, and there's the bouncer, and I was like, hey man, look, Do you think I can get in here with my sandals on? I got sandals on. He's like, no, man, you can't come in here. Okay? Now, I could be like, well, fuck you. Who do you think you are? You're fucking doorman. Oh, that reminds me. Did you guys see that movie Knocked Up?
Yeah.
Remember that part with the doorman? She's like, you're a fucking doorman! 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 He goes, can I talk to you for a second? He pulls her aside. He goes, I know. He's like, I know. You're right. Sometimes I get the runs from the stress of it all. He's like, what am I supposed to do? You old as fuck. That was great. But anyway, think about it. Did I react? Did I say, oh, well, fuck you then. You know what? I'm not coming back to this place. No. I didn't punish him at all. I was cool. You know, I was like, can I get in with the sandals? No, you can't. You know, sorry, no sandals. And I was like, all right, cool, man, thanks. Thanks anyway, no big deal. And they go walking down the street, and there's the patio. On the patio, there's two of the top promoters in San Diego who are good friends of mine. They're like, hey, Chris, what's going on, man? Why don't you come in and have a drink? I was like, bro, I'd love to come in, but you know, they won't let me in with my sandals on. I'm underdressed for this place, so I got to go somewhere else. He's like, don't worry, I'm going to take care of this. So he goes over to the bouncer, and I can see him. He's pointing at me and my girl. He's like pointing at the two of us. He goes, see that guy over there with the sandals? He goes, that guy rented out the entire top floor of this building 3 times. And he's a close personal friend of mine. And the bouncer's like, oh, okay. Right? So then I go back there, and he lets me in. You know, I go back there, me and my girl, we both pull out IDs. Okay? Now this is the point where I might try and act like I'm getting revenge on the guy. You know, I might be like, yeah, that's right, motherfucker. Now you show some goddamn respect. Right? Yeah, there's my ID. Guess I'm going to walk in with my sandals on. Right? But I didn't do that because that's punishing, that's low value. Okay? If I'm low value, then how in hell did I ever rent that place out? Okay? Of course, I never did rent the place out. It's just some bullshit that he told the bouncer. But notice that I didn't punish him for it. I walked up. I was very cool. I actually didn't want him to feel bad. This guy feels like he just fucked up. He feels like he just insulted a personal friend of the owner or something. That some guy who comes in here and spends thousands and thousands of dollars and he just pissed off the guy or treated the guy like shit. And he feels bad. Maybe he feels a little scared. He feels stupid. Now he has to let me in anyway after he said no. He feels embarrassed. Right? He has all these feelings inside. I don't want him to feel bad. I want him to feel better. That's my yang energy. Okay? If I want to get back at him and punish him, I'm not a high-value guy. High-value guys don't do that. The fact that I'm a cool guy, I'm a good guy, I'm a high-value guy, I want him to feel better. I don't want him to feel bad. So when I went up there, I was very gracious. I was very cool to the guy. I went up there. Hey, how's it going, man? I gave him my ID. He goes, you're cool to go in. I was like, thanks, man. Have a good night. Sincere, genuine, comfortable. Okay? But I was very clearly told him, no big deal, bro. Don't worry. It's cool. You know, have a good night. You see the vibe that I'm putting out here? High value vibe. Not a low value reactive vibe. All right, here's another one. Not being needy or clingy or hovering. Okay? Girls have this experience where they find some guy who's maybe a little interesting, so they give him some IOIs. Like, oh, this guy's interesting. Oh, so what's your name? So what do you do? Right? Oh, cool. She starts talking to him for a little bit, and then boom, he sticks to her like a sucker fish. Right? Suddenly, he's clingy, he's hanging around. Wherever she goes, he's following. Make sense? And she realizes that she miscalibrated. She accidentally thought the guy was a little cooler than he actually was, and now, because she showed him some interest, he was so eager, right? Oh my God, she likes me. She's talking to me. I'm gonna hang out. Oh, so what do you do? So where are you from? He starts asking her questions. He doesn't really care what she does. He doesn't really care where she's from. He just wants to keep talking to her. So, right, so here comes the interview. He comes out with the interview questions because he's just desperate to keep the conversation going, and she can feel it. It's so obvious. She can feel it. I'll tell you something. Everything socially is completely obvious on the face of it. Okay? If you're a little needy or a little clingy, it's obvious to everyone immediately. Okay? If you're saying to yourself, oh, I hope she doesn't think I'm coming off clingy, then you probably are. Okay? Because it's obvious. So in that moment, when you're being needy and clingy and hovering, you're lowering your value. You're reacting. Okay, let's say that you're mystery. You get distracted. There's this guy who just recognized me from TV, and there's this hot girl, and there's a cool painting, and look at that. Okay? He's always getting distracted by various interests.